I'm a big fan of people creating content for just to find their voice, to become experts in their industry, to build a platform for their media. How does content affect their website? How does content affect their website and creating a lot of content? How does it matter to them? And then we could talk about how they should be doing it.
Well, and this is a really important part, so I'm glad we're talking about this. I think if you're going to be doing that, you need to have a content strategy because otherwise you're going to be bouncing around to whatever you happen to be thinking about that week, which can work. But it's always better if you have a plan, right? How you're going to use that content, if you've got multiple channels, where you're going to post it. But this can also affect your SEO because the more content you're posting, you now have content that is potentially rankable for people to find you. And if you don't do it intentionally, you're going to actually cause problems for yourself. So there's something called keyword cannibalization. If you have multiple pages on your site, maybe they're different blog posts talking about the same thing, competing for each other to rank for that same keyword, you're now fighting against yourself. And I tell people we like to focus one keyword or one keyword phrase per page. So don't try to make your homepage rank for 5 different things. Focus on one and then have a dedicated service page that you want to rank on for that service. And each service should have its own page. Each product should have its own page. That way you're not competing with yourself.
Now, I imagine, like as I did, and a lot of people I know do, when they get out there, they went out, they built the website, they started creating content, putting content on the website. If they then are like, you know what, now it's time to clean this website up and hire a pro. We've probably done a lot of damage along the way that you have to undo. So I'd love to hear like what is really happening when someone's coming to you and they've already got built a website that's been around a few years and it has content on it. What are you coming in and doing and helping them with that's gonna result in some return for them?
Well, we start by doing a full site audit and looking for all the things that they've done right and the things that they've done wrong, and make a list of all the opportunities we have for improvement. And then we'll make a plan, a prioritized plan of what we're going to fix based on what they have on their site. So we'll start with the things that are going to make the biggest impact, fix those first, and then we'll move on to the more tedious tasks to clean it up because they do matter, but it's also going to take longer and you're not going to see as big of a return for it. So that's why we start with the important things first, obviously.
Is it better to, as soon as we start creating content, to start working with an agency to help us with this kind of stuff? Or is it like easy enough to clean up if you're already a year or two in along the way? Like, are we shooting ourselves in the foot? Is it costing us more money? It's like if you build the house the wrong way, you got to tear down the house and then rebuild it. Is it harder or is it fine either way?
We can always come in and fix it later. The opportunity cost, though, is the time that has elapsed since we start fixing it, right? Because time is something that actually feeds into your authority on Google. So the longer you've been established somewhere, that helps your ranking. So if you can get those things ranking earlier, then that helps, as opposed to getting those things ranking later, because now you've got more competition and you're starting from a lower point of competition. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it absolutely does. Selfish question for you here, for me. Let's say you got 200 different blogs on your website, and a lot of us podcasters have that. A lot of us were creating randomly at first and then got more organized along the way. Across 200 different articles on the website, how do you begin to organize those keywords like for that many pieces of content? Because eventually I'm going to run out of keywords to use. I mean, I wouldn't, but like, what's the approach here to getting organized with something like that?
Well, that's so I touched on that with the audit, right? We have to do it's basically a manual site walk where we're going through the links and assessing each one and checking the keywords that they're being ranked for. And does that make sense? So that wouldn't be the first thing we do, but it's something that we have to start on. And maybe we'll do a certain number of pages per month to go through those, get them properly indexed, make sure we're using a good keyword for that, and make sure they're linking properly to the other pages. So it's just tedious and painful. So that's another reason why if you have someone helping you with this from the beginning, you can do this along the way and it saves time, but it can always be done later. It's just kind of a manual, tedious process.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot that all of us listening are thinking to ourselves, man, This is something I've been meaning to do. This is something I've been putting off. I'm afraid of how much needs to be untangled on my website right now. And I'm afraid of the pain of fixing it. I'm afraid of the cost of fixing it. What would you say to those people that may have that fear, that are already along the way in terms of finding someone and taking the step forward and getting to do this?
Well, the good news about having us do it for you is you don't have to deal with that pain. We will, because we have experience doing it and we can minimize that pain. We have a process for going through it and organizing it in, pretty efficient way. The other thing I'd say is the money that you're spending, it's not just money out the window. This is actually an investment into the site because it's going to improve the ranking over time, which brings you more customers on a daily, monthly basis. So it's actually investing back into that website to make sure it's giving you a return for whatever cost that you spent on it initially. So it's helping you get more out of it. And the longer you wait, the more of an opportunity cost there is.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true, right? I think it's like we are our own worst enemies in that. The cost of doing something once, like I talk about building assets a lot and marketing assets, and it's the same thing. You fix this one time and it now works appropriately, more efficiently, more effectively every time moving forward. And the opportunity there is really, it's what's been lost by you not doing it. And then it's how many more customers and money are you going to have coming in because you fixed it? You fixed it one time. You're not fixing it every month. You're fixing it this one time at first. I'm sure there's optimizing along the way, but the big fix that I'm sure a lot of us need is it can be a huge investment in your business that can see return pretty quickly, I would imagine.
Yeah, there's definitely some quick wins on the low hanging fruit that I've seen turn around, within 5 days. Depends when Google reindexes your site, you can have a big jump in ranking.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, I appreciate all the knowledge you've been dropping for us today, but I will give you the floor here to say, is there anything else you want to give our listeners today in terms of just things you want to share with us or any final parting words?
Well, I just want everybody to know you can make a better website. I want to rid the world of terrible websites. You can start doing that on your own by taking some of these tips that we talked about and applying them. You can work with people like me to help you get to that point. But think about all the annoying websites you've gone to and don't let your website be one of them. So that's my takeaway.
Brands on Brand.